Are you tired of feeling constantly overwhelmed? Do you find yourself saying yes to everything only to feel stretched thin and unproductive? Imagine a life where you focus only on what truly matters, achieving more by doing less. This isn't a fantasy. It's the core message of a powerful book that has helped countless people reclaim their time and energy, Essentialism, the disciplined pursuit of less by Greg McKeown. In today's fast-paced world, we're often told that more is better. We're encouraged to take on more projects, attend more meetings, and constantly be available. But what if that's the wrong approach? What if the key to success and fulfillment lies not in doing more, but in doing less, but better? Greg McKeown's Essentialism offers a compelling alternative. It's not about being lazy or unproductive. Instead, it's a systematic discipline for discerning what is absolutely essential, then eliminating everything that is not, so we can make the highest possible contribution toward the things that truly matter. In this video, we're going to dive deep into the key teachings of Essentialism. We'll explore how to cultivate the mindset of an essentialist, learn the art of saying no gracefully, discover how to choose what to say yes to, understand the importance of creating space to think, and much more. Get ready to transform the way you approach your work and your life. The mindset of an essentialist. The journey to becoming an essentialist begins with a fundamental shift in mindset. McKeown contrasts the essentialist with the non-essentialist. The non-essentialist believes that they have to try to do it all. They spread themselves thin, constantly juggling multiple commitments, often feeling busy but not truly effective. They operate under the assumption that if they say yes to everything, they won't miss out on any opportunities. The essentialist, on the other hand, understands that less can be more. They recognize that by focusing their energy on the vital few things, they can achieve significantly greater results. They don't ask, how can I fit it all in? Instead, they ask, which problems do I want to solve? This simple shift in questioning is incredibly powerful. It moves us from a reactive mode, where we are constantly responding to demands, to a proactive mode, where we are consciously choosing where to invest our time and energy. Imagine a painter with a vast array of colors. A non-essentialist might try to use every single color on their canvas, resulting in a cluttered and unfocused piece. An essentialist, however, would carefully select only the most important colors, using them deliberately to create a powerful and impactful image. The same principle applies to our lives. By focusing on the essential, we can create a masterpiece. The power of no. One of the most crucial teachings of essentialism is the ability to say no gracefully but firmly. For many of us, saying no can feel uncomfortable. We might worry about disappointing others, missing out on opportunities, or being seen as unhelpful. However, McKeown argues that saying yes to everything means saying no to the things that truly matter. Every yes is a trade-off. When we say yes to a trivial request, we're often inadvertently saying no to our priorities, our health, or our relationships. The book highlights that no is not a final rejection, but rather a choice about where to direct our limited resources. It's about protecting our time and energy for what's truly important. McKeown suggests several strategies for saying no more effectively. One approach is to use the power of no assertively but respectfully. Instead of a simple no, you might say something like, "Thank you for thinking of me, but I'm currently focused on another priority." Another technique is to use the "not right now" approach. This acknowledges the request, but indicates that it doesn't align with your current focus. You could say, "That sounds interesting, but it's not something I can take on at this time." The key takeaway here is that saying no is an essential skill for any essentialist. It's about making conscious choices and protecting our most valuable asset, our time. Choosing what to say yes to. Once we've mastered the art of saying no to the non-essential, the next step is to be more deliberate about what we say yes to. An essentialist doesn't just blindly accept opportunities. Instead, They carefully evaluate each option, asking themselves, is this the absolute best way I can spend my time and energy right now? McKeown introduces the concept of the 90% rule. When evaluating an opportunity, ask yourself, does this opportunity score 90% or above on my criteria for what's truly important? If the answer is anything less than 90%, then the answer should be no. This high threshold forces us to be selective and only commit to the truly exceptional opportunities. Imagine you're presented with 10 different projects. A non-essentialist might try to take on all 10, resulting in mediocre outcomes across the board. An essentialist, using the 90% rule, might identify only 1 or 2 projects that truly align with their goals and passions, allowing them to dedicate their full attention and achieve outstanding results. The key takeaway here is that saying yes should be a conscious and deliberate decision, not a default response. Creating space to think. In our hyper-connected world, it's easy to get caught up in the constant whirlwind of emails, notifications, and meetings. But essentialism emphasizes the critical importance of creating space to think. This might seem counterintuitive in a culture that values constant activity, but McKeown argues that dedicated time for reflection, planning, and simply thinking is essential for making wise decisions and identifying the truly important. He shares an anecdote about Bill Gates, who famously takes think weeks where he isolates himself to read, reflect, and strategize without the distractions of his daily routine. While most of us may not be able to take an entire week off, the principle remains the same. We need to carve out regular time for uninterrupted thought. This could be as simple as 15 minutes each morning before checking emails, an hour each week for strategic planning, or even a longer retreat once a year. Imagine a gardener trying to cultivate a beautiful garden without ever taking the time to step back and assess the overall design. They might plant seeds randomly without considering the layout or the needs of different plants. Similarly, without dedicated time for thinking, we can easily get lost in the day-to-day tasks without ever stepping back to evaluate our overall direction and priorities. Creating space to think allows us to be more intentional and strategic in our choices. The importance of sleep. Another seemingly simple yet profoundly important teaching in essentialism is the value of sleep. In our culture of busyness, sleep is often seen as a luxury that can be sacrificed when we have too much to do. However, McKeown argues that sleep is not just a necessity for our physical health, but also a crucial ingredient for our cognitive performance and overall effectiveness. He cites research showing that sleep deprivation impairs our judgment, reduces our creativity, and makes us more prone to errors. An essentialist understands that getting adequate sleep is not a sign of weakness or laziness, but rather a strategic investment in their ability to perform at their best. When we are well rested, we are better able to focus, make clearer decisions, and approach challenges with more energy and resilience. Think of your brain like a computer. When you're working hard, your computer generates temporary files and needs time to run maintenance and clear out the clutter. Sleep is like that maintenance process for our brains. It allows us to consolidate memories, process information, and prepare for the day ahead. By prioritizing sleep, we are essentially optimizing our cognitive performance, making us more effective and efficient in everything we do. The power of play. While essentialism emphasizes focus and discipline, it also recognizes the importance of play. McKeown argues that incorporating playful activities into our lives can actually enhance our creativity, problem-solving abilities, and overall well-being. Play allows us to relax, explore new ideas, and approach challenges from a different perspective. He shares an example of how the team at Pixar Animation Studios fosters a culture of playfulness, believing that it sparks innovation and creativity. This might involve impromptu brainstorming sessions, playful competitions, or simply creating a relaxed and fun work environment. The key takeaway here is that play is not a distraction from important work. It's an essential ingredient for it. Imagine a tightly wound spring. It has potential energy, but it's not very flexible. Play is like loosening that spring, allowing it to expand and contract more freely. When we incorporate play into our lives, we become more adaptable, resilient, and creative. It allows us to approach our work with a sense of joy and enthusiasm, which can ultimately lead to better results. The value of small wins. Essentialism also highlights the power of focusing on small, manageable steps rather than trying to achieve everything at once. McKeown emphasizes the importance of celebrating small wins and building momentum. This approach can be particularly helpful when tackling large or complex projects. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by the enormity of the task, an essentialist breaks it down into smaller, more achievable steps. Each small win provides a sense of accomplishment and motivates us to keep moving forward. This incremental approach can be much more effective than trying to make giant leaps, which can often lead to burnout and discouragement. Think of climbing a mountain. You wouldn't try to reach the summit in one giant leap. Instead, you would focus on taking one step at a time, celebrating each small milestone along the way. Each step brings you closer to your goal and builds your confidence and momentum. Similarly, by focusing on small wins in our work and personal lives, we can make significant progress over time. The role of routines. Creating routines is another key teaching in Essentialism. McKeown argues that establishing consistent habits and routines can help us automate essential tasks, reduce decision fatigue, and free up mental energy for more important activities. Routines provide structure and predictability, allowing us to operate more efficiently and effectively. He shares examples of successful individuals who have relied on routines to achieve their goals. This might include having a consistent morning routine to set the tone for the day, scheduling regular time for focused work, or establishing rituals for winding down before bed. The key takeaway here is that routines can help us make the essential effortless. Imagine a well-oiled machine. Each part works in a predictable and coordinated manner, allowing the machine to operate smoothly and efficiently. Routines are like the well-oiled parts of our lives. They help us automate tasks that don't require conscious thought, allowing us to focus our mental energy on more complex and creative endeavors. By establishing effective routines, we can make progress towards our goals more consistently and with less effort. Focusing on the present. In our fast-paced and often overwhelming world, it's easy to get caught up in worrying about the future or dwelling on the past. However, Essentialism emphasizes the importance of focusing on the present moment. McKeown argues that when we are fully present and engaged in what we are doing right now, we are more effective, creative, and fulfilled. He highlights the concept of being present, not just physically, but also mentally and emotionally. This means minimizing distractions, being fully engaged in conversations, and saving the experiences of the present moment. When we are truly present, we can bring our best selves to whatever task is at hand. Think of a skilled musician playing a complex piece of music. They're not thinking about what they had for breakfast or what they need to do later. They are completely focused on the notes they are playing in that very moment. Similarly, when we cultivate the ability to focus on the present, we can bring a higher level of skill and attention to everything we do. Editing and simplifying. The final key teaching we'll discuss today is the importance of editing and simplifying. Just as a writer refines their work by cutting out unnecessary words and phrases, an essentialist constantly looks for ways to simplify their lives and eliminate the non-essential. This might involve decluttering our physical spaces, streamlining our workflows, or even simplifying our commitments. McKeown encourages us to regularly review our lives and ask ourselves, what can I eliminate? What can I simplify? This might involve saying no to commitments that no longer serve us, delegating tasks that can be done by others, or simply getting rid of possessions that we no longer need or use. The goal is to create a more focused and intentional life by removing the clutter and distractions. Imagine a sculptor taking a rough block of marble and chipping away at it to reveal the beautiful form within. editing, and simplifying our lives is a similar process. By removing the unnecessary, we can reveal the essential and create more space for what truly matters. Common pitfalls and solutions. Now, let's briefly touch upon some common pitfalls people encounter when trying to implement the teachings of essentialism. One common challenge is the fear of missing out, or FOMO. We might worry that if we say no to something, we'll miss out on a valuable opportunity. To overcome this, it's helpful to remember the 90% rule and to focus on the potential gains of saying no more time and energy for our priorities. Another pitfall is the pressure from others. We might face resistance from colleagues, friends, or family who are used to us saying yes to everything. In these situations, it's important to communicate our intentions clearly and respectfully, explaining that we are making these changes to focus on what's most important to us. Sometimes, we might struggle with identifying what is truly essential. In this case, it can be helpful to ask ourselves clarifying questions like, what are my core values? Or, what impact do I want to have in the world? Reflecting on these questions can help us gain clarity on our priorities. Finally, it's important to remember that becoming an essentialist is a journey, not a destination. There will be times when we slip back into old habits. The key is to be patient with ourselves, learn from our mistakes, and keep practicing the principles of essentialism. I encourage you to take some time this week to reflect on the teachings we've discussed today. Think about one area of your life where you could apply the principles of essentialism. Maybe it's saying no to one unnecessary commitment, creating 15 minutes of space for thinking each day, or prioritizing getting an extra hour of sleep. Choose one small step you can take and see what a difference it makes. Remember, even small changes can have a significant impact over time. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these key teachings from essentialism resonates with you the most? Which one do you plan to try implementing first? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this summary helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more book summaries and insights on personal growth and productivity. Thanks for watching.